Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. This is a emergency meeting of the Law Nerds called to order on behalf of Britney Spears and her continued efforts to yeet her father from this conservatorship. My gavels are back there. We're using lip gloss. I feel like that's most appropriate. I didn't even change the lights. The lights should just be pink. And the reason the lights should be pink is because I like Rosengart's motions. His motions are not a problem. The reason he had to file them are a problem because of James Spears. But we're not talking about James Spears. We're talking about Rosengart's legal work and the things that I like about it. So let's fix these lights and just make them all pink for Brit because that's how we roll. Wait, where there? The pinks, the purples. Oh, it just doesn't even want to. Well, when we roll the intro, we'll fix the lights. It's been that kind of a day. Today was a work day. I had my head down and working, and I picked my head up and I looked on the internet and I went, oh my God, there are new motions. So today we are just breaking down the new motions in the Britney Spears case. Her lawyers are responding to James Spears's petition to terminate the conservatorship and have some very interesting things to say. So let me know where you're coming in from. I am drinking water because that's the kind of day it is. Let me know where you're coming in from, what you're drinking. It's an evening. I know a lot of you are like, Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Britney. I'm going to try to be concise because I also want to watch Real Housewives of Beverly Hills in a little bit. I appreciate you. We should just get rolling. We have a lot to talk about, but it is a one topic extra ride, which means in the chat, we will, when I get to questions, be sticking to Britney stuff because that is where my brain will be focused. And there's going to be so much because we got to do a road so far too. So we should just get started. It's good to see you, Law Nerds. I've missed you since yesterday, and let's ride. Hey there. If we haven't met yet, I'm Emily D. Baker, the badass lawyer and everyone's favorite legal commentator. I'm the host of The Emily Show, and I break down the legal shit behind the news and pop culture stories we all want to talk about. I have been a licensed attorney for over 15 years, but this is not legal advice. I should warn you, I'm a big fan of the cursey words. This channel is where the law nerds unite to talk about facts, not fuckery. I'm still trying to make the lights pink. Right now, they just want red. Should we just leave them in red? Sure. Let's just leave them with red because you know what? We're dealing with all kinds of Britney stuff. We're just going to leave it at red. Because they just don't want to go pink. I do have to say, if you guys do not know that I have a podcast, our podcast is having a very busy day. So if you have not enjoyed the Emily Show on Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcast app, go ahead and check that out today because we're having like one of our highest download days ever, which is bananas and amazing. But also, it's ranking really well in its categories, and I love that. So if you have not done that, there's a new audio episode out today. The video complimentary version will be out soon, and yeah, I will let you know when it is. If you're in the text crew, textemily.com, you'll know. If you're in Patreon, you'll get an alert there. If you're here, you'll get an alert here. Hit the bell, do the things. We have things to talk about. Like, do the subscribing things, do the likey things, hit the bell things. Just, you know the things to do. You're all experienced YouTubers. I trust you. You're the best law nerds. And if you know anyone that's interested in this topic, go ahead and share the video out because YouTube doesn't alert everybody. Just be like, hey, we're talking Britney. Come join. Let's talk Britney. Let's get in the chat. And if you're unable to chat, just go ahead and check your subscription because it's set to subscribers only. And as you're subscribed, then you'll be able to chat. Let's do a quick road so far with regard to the Britney Spears conservatorship. And by quick, I mean we're going to kind of just cover what's relevant to these motions right now. Britney Spears has been trying to remove her father from having control of her life for fuck ever. Her old attorney, Sam Ingham, the court-appointed one, before she was allowed to choose her own, not all that long ago, had filed a petition ages ago to remove James Spears and appoint Bessemer Trust as the conservator of the estate. This would effectively remove James Spears from a position of power in this conservatorship and give a professional control of Britney's money as opposed to her father. That was denied, and the court made Bessemer Trust co-conservator. But because Sam Ingham didn't file the order, he was ordered by the court to prepare the physical order. He didn't file it for like 6 months. And so by the time the court signed it, it was contemporaneous with Bessemer asking to be removed from the entire situation after Britney spoke to court on June 23rd, a day that will live in history, the day that Britney put her foot down and said, I've had a fucking enough of this. I am done with my father. I am done with the way they treat me. I do not like this conservatorship. I want more control of this, and I want more control of my life. Everything has changed since June. Britney has been allowed to have her own attorney appointed, Matthew Rosengart. He not immediately, within days, filed a petition to remove James Spears. And since then, we have been moving forward. So July 26th, Rosengart petitions to remove James Spears. James Spears files a first response. The first response said, like, Lynn Spears sucks and I should be thanked. And Britney needs this conservatorship, and aired, threw Lynn under the bus, aired out Britney's business all in the street, and was very self-interested. Rosengart responded briefly, and then James Spears, at the beginning of September, as we're nearing this September 29th hearing, out of seemingly nowhere and seemingly leaked to the media first, a petition to terminate the conservatorship. Like, all of a sudden, he was like, oh, thank me, this conservatorship's so great. I'll leave when the time's right. I'll leave when the 12th accounting is done. Side note, the 12th accounting is the one where James Spears' attorneys are asking for over $1 million. He has 4 sets of attorneys. One set is asking for $1.3 million in legal fees. That's the 12th accounting. The one with $500,000 in Media Matters. That accounting, that one. He didn't want to leave until the 12th accounting was settled, and like the lawyers were paid and he was paid and everybody was paid. And then he would help transition. I'll step down when the time is right. And then he was like, oh, forget stepping down. Let's just terminate the whole thing. After the accountings are done, after things are wrapped up. Well, we hadn't heard anything since that was filed at the beginning of September, literally leaked to the media as I was getting on a plane. I feel personally attacked by the timing of these filings all the time. All the time. They don't happen when I'm ready for things. Today was like a head down, dirty hair work day, no makeup day. And then all this happened. I'm like, we're riding. We don't want to wait till Friday. Did any of you want to wait till Friday? None of you wanted to wait till Friday. If you are glad we're riding today, go ahead and put a 1 in the chat. And if it is your first ride, go ahead and put a 2 in the chat, because I would love to see all of you that are live for the first time. I saw some of you saying that you are. So welcome for your first live. It's going to be a sassy one. The Control F Yourself shirt will definitely give you the impression that this is how we are feeling today. Because this is how we are feeling today. So let us begin. Wait, that's the road so far. So we had Dad Spears's petition to terminate. By way of review, we're going to go over Dad Spears's petition to terminate in the briefest of briefness, so that we can truly appreciate everything that is happening in these new filings. So let me go ahead and pull that up. Look. We were ready. I was ready. I was ready to do the things, and I was moderately on time. It's like I know how to YouTube. No, next week I'm speaking at a YouTube conference with like actual like professional YouTubers, like, Mr. Beast and Matt Pat. Like, I guess I'm in there as a professional YouTuber, but like Benji Travis and Sean Cannell, like, Viper and Roberto Blake, like YouTubers, Mark Rober, YouTubers. And I'm going to be like, hey, yeah, we're professionals here. We live stream and talk about pop culture. We're just getting it. So James Spears' petition for termination of the conservatorship. If I can't have her, no one can. Let's gaslight some more in some legal documents. By the way, law nerds, I appreciate you. I know we all have the same feelings about James Spears, but once allowing like name calling and all the things in the chat, then it just devolves. So I appreciate you. I know how you feel about James Spears. I have my feelings as well, but in the chat, we don't name call. In the chat, we do not wish ill upon people, even though it will be nice to see James Spears separated from the cash cow that he has been milking for her entire adult life and her childhood as well. We all want this to end well for Britney, and maybe not so well for James Spears. And we'll just leave it at that, because we are we're classy. We're classy. So let's finish up this road so far with the previous petition to terminate filed on like September 7th. Miss Spears entered into this conservatorship voluntarily in 2008. We all have questions. That is for like 4 documentaries. One of which looks like it's coming out on the 28th before the next court hearing. So let's see what we get. Let's see what we get from that new documentary. It looks like they have some sealed documents that got leaked to them, so that'll be fascinating. I'm sure Judge Penny will be fucking pissed about it because she was so angry that the New York Times got documents, and she brought it up at the June 23rd court hearing. So I'm sure she will love that this is happening again. But we all love it, so it just is what it is. Miss Spears is now outspoken in her frustration. She's been outspoken. Given her testimony, Mr. Spears does not know why a petition to terminate the conservatorship has not yet been filed. We're going to talk about that in a moment. Mr. Spears has heard his daughter, and she is now pleading for the end of the conservatorship. Okay, now we want to listen to her. And then they quote Britney in this motion. They talk about her not being evaluated. They actually cite why the court can end the conservatorship without her being evaluated, which is helpful. They then get into all the transcripts. Let's see. This is what they actually asked for. And this is the part I wanted to get to. And did I put my phone on focus mode? Let's see. No, I sure didn't. That's why it's buzzing. Focus me, phone. All right. Mr. Spears requests an order of the court as follows: finding all notices required have been given, determining that the conservatorship of the person of Britney Spears is no longer required, or the grounds for the establishment of the conservatorship of the person no longer exists, terminating the conservatorship of the person, discharging Jody Montgomery as temporary conservator. Listen to the language here. This is the important shit. Upon settlement and approval of a final report and account by the court. The 12th account has been pending for well over a year. Just so we know. A final report and accounting will take time. And that's what comes in Rosengart's motions. That's why I'm pointing it out. Determining that the conservatorship of the estate is no longer required, terminating the conservatorship of the estate, discharging James P. Spears as conservator of the estate upon settlement and approval of a final account report by the court. So it is discharging James Spears upon approval of a final report and account. But this can also include an investigation into what the conservatorship has been doing, which could leave him as conservator of the person. If this motion were granted, this one as written, no modifications, then James Spears could continue being conservator of the estate until the final report, because he wouldn't be discharged until that's done. And that will take time. So that's what brings us to the motions by Matthew Rosengart, filed this morning at 8, the first one at 8:22 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Let's get into it. I'm going to swoop. We're going to get to the new shit. Conservatee Britney Spears's verified second supplement to petition for suspension and removal of James P. Spears as conservator of the estate pursuant to Probate Code Section 2650J, consent to petition for termination of conservatorship of the person and the estate. So this is the second amendment. We've had, the original petition, then the first supplement. This is the second supplement. This is their response to James's last motion and bringing more information before the court. So let me go ahead and make this bigger so we can all see it, because, I know y'all love looking at me, but the documents are the most fun. And, that's what we're getting to. And when I pronounce shit wrong, you can also see it. See what it says. All right. This is essentially the verified second supplement to the petition to yeet James Spears as conservator of the estate. On July 26, 2021, Britney, through undersigned counsel Rosengart, filed a petition to suspend and remove James as conservator of the estate. The suspension petition. No, the motion to yeet. We are going to continue calling it motion to yeet. It is part of the law nerd vernacular. It is a motion to yeet. Based on this court's broad discretion under 2650J, and because that relief was inexorably in the best interest of Ms. Spears, as the petition provided, Mr. Spears' suspension was and is a necessary and substantial step towards Miss Spears' freedom and ending the Kafkaesque nightmare imposed upon her by her father so that her dignity and basic liberties can be restored. Yes, as people have been saying. Like, the Free Britney movement has essentially been screaming this, not in legal speak, for years. And even Sam Ingham, like with two hands and a map, found his way to this conclusion that Britney wanted James Spears to be gone, though I feel like she's been saying this forever. And ever and ever and ever. Since Britney's suspension petition was filed, since the motion to eat was filed, Dad Spears has effectively confirmed through his filings why, one, his continued service would be extremely detrimental to his daughter's well-being, e.g., elevating his own interest above his daughter's, affirmative, and two, even if that were not so, by his own admission, his continued presence is harmful and unnecessary, and his daughter's fervent desire that he be suspended and or removed should be respected, consistent with the fundamental principles of probate law. Yeah, it's about the conservatee. They go on to quote the court back to herself again, reminding the court by saying, indeed, as this court eloquently and succinctly stated during the July 14th hearing, it's not about anyone else, it's about her. And this is, again, holding the court's feet to the fire so that if the court, we'll see what the court rules on the 29th, but this is reminding the court, you said that this was the purpose. We're telling you that under this purpose and under the law, this is the only result acceptable to Britney. And it is your duty as a bench officer to follow what is in the best interest of Britney Spears on September 29th. So could you just please grant this motion? In her August 30, 2021 supplemental petition, Ms. Spears exposed her father's plan in his August 12th first response to extract substantial quid pro quo payments. Remember, in his first response, James Spears said, "I'll go when the time is right. I agree that I should step down, but not until everyone's paid." That's what they're referring to here. The quid pro quo, the this, then that, the tit for tat of it all. Payments from her and how he was evidently, but erroneously, seeking to avoid responding to detailed and extensive discovery served upon him in August. Oh, how interesting. Yes, Matthew Rosengart, please tell us about the extensive discovery that you've served upon James Spears, because this is the first time we're hearing it, and we are fascinated, including 74 special interrogatories, 37 requests for production of documents, as well as a sworn deposition that would further expose key underlying facts concerning his conduct since 2008. Oh, footnote. No, footnote. Footnote. Mr. Spears has not been relieved of his discovery obligations, and this office's investigation into his conduct and that of others continues. Here's what this means that we have not heard before. This is like the, oh shit. 74 special interrogatories are questions that are answered under oath. Like, here's a question, give me a paragraph or a sentence. Sometimes it's a yes and a no. 37 requests for production of documents mean we want this document, this document, this document, this document, and a request for a sworn deposition. You are going to sit down under oath, and we are going to ask you questions to try to figure out what the fuck has been going on here. So what we're learning in this motion for the first time is that when Spears started having an about face, he had been served with a request for discovery, and he knows that there is an ongoing investigation. What the tea we learned from other court documents is that there was mention made of a settlement agreement, and it seems that maybe James Spears behind the scenes, this is extrapolation on my part and supposition on my part. It seems that maybe James Spears behind the scene was like, yeah, I know you want to investigate, but if I go, how can we work this out? What kind of deal can we swing if I leave? And I think Rosengart was like, no deal. No deal at all. No deal at all. What you can do is answer 74 interrogatories, 37 requests for productions, and sit your ass down for a deposition that would probably last a few days. Rosengart is not going to play. Cheers, Rosengart. Get it. They then say, in short, Miss Spears's petition and supplement demonstrated she would no longer be bullied or extorted by her father, and that to the extent Mr. Spears continued to oppose his suspension, he was continuing to harm his daughter while improperly trying to bolster his own reputation. Whoop, there it is. Tag team back again. Check it, direct it. Let's begin. Party on, party people. Let me hear some noise. Rosengart's in the house. Jump, jump, rejoice. There's a party over here, a party over there. Wave your hands in the air. Shake your derriere. These three words mean you're getting busy. Whoop. There it is. I should just stop. Rosengart is just coming in strong. There's going to be a wrecking ball reference during this video at some point. I can feel it coming. In fact, the attacks in Mr. Spears's first response to Miss Spears's petition actually bolster the legal grounds mandating his removal. Agreed. Because those attacks were against his daughter's best interest. Agreed. Additionally, Miss Spears's supplement established that the bills Mr. Spears compiled, including on a media tour, such as the outrageous sum of approximately $540,000 for unspecified media matters, must be borne by him. Pay your bills yourself, James. You do not have the purse strings anymore. You are no longer entitled to Britney's money to spend on lawyers as you like to fight against her wishes. Those days are over. Sorry. So they are saying that look, okay, we're not done. I sidebarred and then I didn't sidebar and now I'm back. Look, here's what's brilliant about this. They know that the 12th accounting is going to be fought over because what's in Britney's best interest? It's that she doesn't pay $1 million in legal fees for her dad's lawyers to fight against her, right? So the 12th accounting is going to be hotly contested and fought over. It is not going to be resolved on the 29th, and that is going to keep going. The way James Spears has set up his motion is that he will be removed when the final accountings are done, essentially. And what Rosengart is saying in this motion is we are going to fight you to the dime on this 12th accounting and your media matters, and you are going to pay for them yourself. So they are saying they want to remove James immediately, appoint a temporary conservator, and fight it out over this money, which is a smart plan. If you just end the conservatorship now, you still have all of this financial stuff that you're going to have to deal with while Dad Spears is in charge. Someone else needs the books, and Dad Spears is fighting so that somebody else doesn't see these books, in my opinion. That is sure what these motions seem like. They go on to say that the conservator's attorney's fees to oppose the petition for removal incurred to defend conservator's character and reputation were not payable from the conservator's estate. Oh, and we're not fighting the new shit. We're not paying for that either. We're done paying to fight against ourselves. Evidently, seeing the handwriting on the wall on September 7th, 2021, inconvenient for Emily as she was boarding a plane, but nobody takes her scheduling into account because she is just a YouTube legal commentator. And I don't think anyone should. I'm just saying. Mr. Spears did a 180-degree reversal of his initial positionings, filing a petition to terminate the conservatorship of the person and estate of Britney. Although Miss Spears rejects her father's recounting of history. Hey, what you don't get to do is continue to gaslight in your legal motions and try to rewrite history. You can't do that. While Britney rejects her father's recounting of history and maintains that the termination petition was motivated by Dad Spears' apparent self-interest, she fully consents to the relief sought in the termination petition and pleads for such relief expeditiously. There are footnotes. Let's get to them. Footnote number 2. The court will recall that a few short weeks ago, Mr. Spears was taking a very different tack, attacking his daughter, his ex-wife, and resisting his suspension or removal. If Mr. Spears has a genuine... I missed a word. If Mr. Spears has had a genuine epiphany and come to realize what many have known and advocated for years, that is certainly appreciated and welcome. But there is a reason to believe that Mr. Spears's motives are to seek, one, to rehabilitate his reputation, something with which his pleadings admit he is preoccupied. Yes, they do. Way to call it out. We love a shady footnote. We love a sassy footnote. 2, avoid suspension on September 29th, and or 3, impede the conservatee's ability to further investigate and examine his conduct since 2008. I think that all of those are accurate, that James Spears is seeking to rehabilitate his reputation, but he's already got a bad reputation, and that's not going to work. To avoid suspension on September 29th and to impede their ability to investigate him. If James Spears wanted to rehabilitate his reputation, now I am not a PR crisis manager, I'm just a girl with a law degree, but here's what I think. If you wanted to rehabilitate your image, resign. Stop fighting and resign and say, I trust that Britney is in the hands of those who will take care of her legally, that they are going to make sure that her estate is taken care of, that they are going to do what's in her best interest. I am going to resign and go back to being her dad, which means he'll be cut out of her life immediately. But that is how you save face. You say, I am doing what's in the best interest of my daughter, and I am resigning, because that is what she has asked me to do, and that is her will. There we go. That might be a little step towards rehabilitating the bad reputation. Bad reputation. We have another footnote. As previously indicated, Ms. Spears planned to file a termination petition after the initial impediment of her father's toxic presence and his ability to object to the termination was removed. Boom goes the dynamite. We've just now called Jamie toxic in footnote 3. He's toxic, but it also lays out their legal strategy, which is something that we've talked about a lot, is remove James, look at the books, then start moving towards ending this conservatorship. And footnote 3 tells us that what they wanted to do was remove James, look at the books, and then file a petition to terminate once he was gone. And I think his lawyers probably figured that out because, legal commentators on YouTube like myself have figured that out. And we've said, look, this is the plan that makes the most sense. And that's still what they're trying to do. And I appreciate that Rosengart is not moving the goalpost. He's like, this is our plan. And you all are going to follow our plan because our plan is in Britney's best interest. And that is literally the only fucking thing that should matter. Ugh. All right. While the present termination petition is fully supported by Ms. Spears and also consented to by the conservator of the person, Jody Montgomery, well, that's new information. Glad that Jody's on board too. My microphone is drooping. Why are we droopy this evening? Hopefully that will stop pissing me off as much. It's just bothered. I'm just bothered. It's also consented to by Jody Montgomery, subject to proper transition and asset protection. Here's what that means. We need to have another conservator of the estate so that the money can be protected. There's going to be a transition either way. There has to be a transition. This is a 13-year conservatorship. This doesn't just go away. Most conservatorships never end. Most conservatorships, the conservatee passes and then the estates are wound up and ended that way. This would be winding up an estate in a different way into a money manager, business manager, etc. So there still is going to be a period of transition. They are seeking to make sure that James Spears is not in charge of anything during that period of transition. And I respect that plan. I know people are going to be so frustrated when her conservatorship is not terminated on the 29th, but it shouldn't be terminated on the 29th. James should be removed on the 29th, and then we should keep moving forward. The termination petition also speaks emphatically in support of the primary present issue before the court, the immediate and necessary suspension of Mr. Spears no later than September 29th. A win on the 29th is James being removed, a temporary conservator of the estate being put in place, and an investigation into what has been happening over the last 13 years. That is the win from my perspective. I know there are lots that are like, it's not a win till it's over. There's phases. And this is the first step. And it's indicated here too. The first step is to remove James Spears. They go on to say, specifically, despite the termination petition, this court must still take up Ms. Spears' July 26 petition for an order suspending her father. Accurate. While the entire conservatorship is promptly wound down and formally terminated. Good. 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 It is clear that Mr. Spears cannot be permitted to hold a position of control over his daughter for another day. As we have previously stated, Britney Spears' life matters, Britney's well-being matters, and under the circumstances, every day matters because Mr. Spears clings to his post. I read that awkwardly. Every day Mr. Spears clings to his post is another day of anguish and harm to his daughter, which is avoidable via immediate suspension. Further, to all the reasons why immediate suspension has always been required, we now can add another essential one. As has been publicly reported, Ms. Spears has become recently engaged. Yay, Britney, we loves it. We loves it. We loves it so much. With Miss Spears' consent and pursuant to her instructions, Miss Spears and undersigned counsel Rosengart, not dad, are in the process of engaging a family law attorney to craft a prenuptial agreement. The shade. Here's why it's shade. The shade is glorious because James Spears said, I'll take care of it as the conservator of the estate. And Rosengart is like, oh no. You have no plan. Can Rosengart walk Britney down the aisle? Would we love to see it? Should we see that? Should that happen? Yes. Yes, it would be the ultimate. Anyway, Britney's dad indicated in his motion to terminate that he was going to be engaging a family law counsel to craft the prenup. But what we're seeing from Rosengart is no, we've got this. Don't you worry. We will engage an attorney. We are her lawyers, not you. And we will find someone to craft a prenup because, as Sam has made clear, he wants to make sure that he protects his Jeep, and I respect him for it. They say that the prenuptial agreement process will require communications with and cooperation from the conservator of the estate. But as referenced above and well established in the record, given that Ms. Spears' relationship with her father is broken, Mr. Spears' continued involvement would impede the ability to negotiate and consummate a contract that all can agree is in Spears' best interest. He is just going to make the process slower and more expensive. And that is what he has done every single step of the way. Every time Britney has made a motion, James Spears spends her money to fight her. Why would the prenup be any different? People are like, why did you say protect his Jeep? He made a joke about it on social media. That's the only reason I said protect his Jeep. He also said and his shoe collection, but it was a joke that her fiance Sam made on social media. So hopefully that makes sense. All right, back to the motion. Back to the motion. Recap regarding why Mr. Spears sucks. Recap regarding why Mr. Spears should be yeeted. While the entire conservatorship is wound down and terminated, Mr. Spears' immediate suspension remains the most pressing and immediate need and is still mandated for numerous reasons. First, he sucks. Second, he sucks. Third, he sucks. Fourth, he spends a lot of money. And fifth, he sucks. No, I'm kidding. That was a summary. First, the conservator-conservatee relationship is not tenable. No, it's not. They're not speaking, and it seems like he took her dogs. So, we're not a fan. And he leaked the motion to terminate to the media before it got sent to Rosengart. How much more clear does it need to be that Dad Spears is more concerned with media matters than he is with his own daughter? How much more clear does it need to be if that is not the clearest fucking thing? Let's continue, though. Let us continue. As Ms. Spears' own powerful, poignant, and compelling June 23rd and July 14th testimony demonstrate, her father's presence as conservator is extremely toxic and detrimental to her best interest and well-being. As Ms. Spears herself articulated, that was pronounced awkwardly, articulated she wants and deserves her life and dignity back, and her father's immediate suspension is a prerequisite. Second, and relatedly, as Jody Montgomery has testified, she and, quote, the medical team all agree that it would be best for Miss Spears' well-being and mental health that her father stop acting as her conservator, end quote. And Miss Montgomery further testified that Mr. Spears' removal as conservator is critical, bold, underline, italic, to Britney Spears' emotional health and well-being and is in the best interest of the conservatee Britney Spears. And finally, Ms. Montgomery testified as to her, quote, strong opinion and recommendation that the persons serving as Ms. Spears' conservators not be family members. Instead, it is in Spears' best interest that only qualified, neutral professionals serve as conservators. Similarly, as recently as during the July 14th hearing, Montgomery's counsel testified unequivocally that it has been, quote, a strong recommendation by the medical team that Mr. Spears, her father, needs to be off of the conservatorship. Third, although issues concerning Mr. Spears' character, misfeasance, and or malfeasance are not presently before the court and need not be resolved by the court to grant Mrs. Spears' pending motion to yeet, it is worth noting that Dad Spears was never fit to serve as the conservator. They're so done with Dad Spears. Like, the first motion was strongly written, but it is getting more and more and more strongly worded. And they're like, we're so done with you, Dad Spears. We're so done. Mr. Spears was never a fit, it says, to serve as conservator. And while he might claim otherwise, his continued service for even a day is unwarranted and intolerable. Boom. By way of illustration only, Mr. Spears had no training in matters of economics or finance. In fact, prior to assuming the post of conservator, his own modest finances were in array, and he filed for bankruptcy. Relatedly, although our investigation is ongoing and further investigation is warranted, Mr. Spears' mismanagement of Miss Spears' estate is evident and ongoing. He took an unwarranted commission from his daughter's work. That came back up. Oh, good. I'll talk about that in just a second. He took an unwarranted commission from his daughter's work, totaling millions of dollars. He takes a, quote, salary larger than his daughter's, including for apparent unused, quote, office space. Oh, yeah, he gets paid rent. He, upon information and belief, evidently failed to negotiate or even obtain a business management agreement from Miss Spears' prior business manager, Lou Taylor. And he has evidently engaged and continues to engage in potential self-dealing in connection with various transactions, including but not limited to, in connection with the family home and the recent disposition of assets of Bridgemore Timber LLC. That is a rabbit hole to go running down quickly. What is Bridgemore Timber and what the fuck was he doing with it? I have so many questions. But here's the thing. All of this is fantastic because he took a salary every single month since this thing has started. He has a salary plus $2,000 for office space so he can perform as the conservator of the estate. Like, get a laptop, man. We work from home these days. And then it brings out the fact that he never negotiated with Lou Taylor. And every time she was like, hey, we just need more money, he was like, yeah, cool, here's all the money. Hyperbole, but it was a substantial sum of money. It's still being debated in the 12th accounting, but it does it does talk about the fact that he took commissions from Britney's work. When he was negotiating contracts for Britney Spears' performances based on court records, we know that he negotiated himself a commission. During the time he negotiated a commission for himself, he was the conservator, which is completely improper. But also, she had a business manager, like she had other team that was being paid commission. So what was his commission for, if not like a finder's fee? What? That is one paragraph in this motion that just spills all of the tea. And it is so good. It's like, hey, Your Honor, remember, he's fucked up. You can't do any of this. What are you doing? I love it. I love it so much. I love it so much. This is so great. All right. Let's get into the restraining order, shall we? Because that's what's in paragraph 18. On top of that, in August 2019, the court issued a multi-year domestic violence restraining order against Mr. Spears, requiring him to stay away from Britney's children and the father of her children, thereby irreparably fracturing whatever tenuous relationship might have existed. Hey, Dad Spears, you don't want to go there with us, because what we're going to do is remind the court how we feel about you. And right now we feel that you are unqualified and with peace and love are a giant piece of crap. So we are telling the court that you can no longer be serving in this position. And that is the position being taken by Britney's lawyers. And it's like, oh, did you forget? He is self-dealing. He is overpaying himself. He is overpaying those around him. Oh yeah. And there was a restraining order issued, so he had to stay away from her kids, making it even harder for Britney to be around her kids, which is the one thing that seems to matter the most to her in the world. Your Honor, aren't you a mother? I'm waiting for that to be in a footnote. Your Honor, you know this. You're a mother. We've seen your son all over Twitter talking about this case. Let us continue. Let us continue. Oh, paragraph 17 and 18 delivered. I don't know if we're going to get better than that. Fourth, just a few short weeks ago, while still hoping to linger as conservator, while still trying to stretch out his ability to take advantage of the situation, Mr. Spears conceded that his continued service, there's the first typo I've seen in this. Look, they're in all documents. We shade lawyers appropriately. The less typos, the less shade. This is the first one in this one, but I pointed out for everybody. Mr. Spears has conceded that his continued service was not in Miss Spears' best interest, acknowledging in his verified first response to the petition to Yeet, quote, that he does not believe that a public battle with his daughter over his continued service as her conservator would be in her best interest. What he should have done then is resigned. Yeah, there's just a simple petition. We've seen numerous of them files, including by Sam Ingham. It's just like, Your Honor, I'd like to resign. And then the court's like, okay. And that's it. That's all. It's not hard. Dad Spears just won't do it. Paragraph 20, fifth, without more, Mr. Spears' concession that his resistance to immediate removal would not be in his daughter's best interest would, in and of itself, be more than enough to warrant his yeeting. With the filing of his verified termination petition, however, Mr. Spears has now cemented the point. At the risk of stating the obvious, state it, we love the obvious shade, go for it. One, the premise of the termination petition is that in Mr. Spears' view, no conservator is necessary. Yep. And two, if no conservator is necessary, then a fortiori, I mean, you don't have to go there, but we appreciate it. This one particular conservator is not necessary. We've gone back to like OG rhetoric. We're going back to like AB. If this, then that, this, then that. If no conservator is necessary and James Spears is a conservator, then James Spears is not necessary. I like that they broke the argument down into its part. Like old school critical thinking logic. At the risk of stating the obvious, no conservator is necessary. James Spears is a conservator. James Spears is not necessary. All right, conclusion. The verified termination petition advocates that recently things have changed. Recently, I'm not going to be singing Dave Matthews in the middle of this motion. Apologies. If Miss Spears wants to terminate the conservatorship and believes that she can handle her own life, Mr. Spears believes that she should get a chance. Miss Spears agrees. Oh, yay! 22. The verified petition further concedes that, quote, in authorizing Ms. Spears to select and hire her own counsel, this court has recognized that Ms. Spears has both the capacity and capability to identify, engage, and instruct counsel of her own choice on her own without the assistance of the conservator of the court. If Ms. Spears has the capacity and capability to engage counsel on her own, she presumably has the capacity and capability to handle other contractual and business matters. In addition to being able to choose and instruct her own attorney, Ms. Spears should be given the opportunity to hire her own business manager, financial advisor, and security to protect both her estate and her person. Miss Spears agrees. As is customary for numerous celebrities and high net worth individuals, she must be given the opportunity, the dignity, and the choice to select and choose the individuals who will look out for her financially and otherwise. Her choice here, indeed, her fervent plea to this court. We are just adding on. We are just adding on. Here, her choice here, indeed, her fervent plea to this court is that it is in her best interest for Mr. Spears to be replaced immediately. Needless to say, but we're saying it anyway because we're lawyers, having committed under oath to a path forward in which he states Ms. Spears has the capacity to make such decisions, Mr. Spears cannot pick and choose between those decisions by his daughter that he likes and those he opposes. Oh, man. Especially where the only reason for opposing his immediate replacement would be to further his own self-interest. Nor is there any reason to question the wisdom of Miss Spears's decision to suspend her father, with which the conservator and Miss Spears's person, Jody Montgomery, and Miss Spears's medical team wholeheartedly concur. Footnote 5. How much sass? Ooh, not much. As demonstrated in Mrs. Spears's July 26 petition, interested party Lynn Spears also forcefully agrees. Just a footnote to say her mom agrees too. Paragraph 24, finally and importantly, in addition to stating that circumstances have, quote, clearly changed, Mr. Spears's termination petition further agrees and states no less than 3 times, I mean, it's not 9 times, but 3 times, that consistent with Mrs. Spears' wishes, no mental or psychological evaluation is required under the probate code. Thank you, Jamie. As you previously said, as you said 3 times, she does not need to be evaluated. So you cannot come the fuck into court now and be like, but wait. I feel like this has been Rosengart gloriously calling Jamie's bluff, because his bluff was, fine, terminate it after the accounting's done. And they're like, oh, we will after you're gone. Don't you worry. We don't need you for the accountings. Bye-bye. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Don't forget to tip your waitress on the way out. Thank you. Paragraph 25. Given all of this, the path forward is clear. Yeet, 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 yeet. KD in the chat says, was that a Ferris Bueller reference? Oh, you bet your ass it was a Ferris Bueller reference. Given all of this, back to the petition. Given all of this, the path forward is clear. First, in anticipation that the court will wish to see a termination plan in connection with the prompt winding up and termination of the conservatorship. Accurate. But knowing that her father must not be permitted to remain as conservator for another day, Miss Spears will seek to appoint a temporary short-term conservator to replace Mr. Spears until the conservatorship is completely and inevitably terminated this fall. Wow, we're swinging big for the fences, Rosengart. This fall? This fall? Okay. Get it? I mean, get it. I'm sure they're already working on the termination plan because that has to be done, but okay. In the meantime, I mean, when does fall end? Fall started today, so I mean, I feel like we've got time, but all right, let's see it before the end of the year. Get it? We like it. We like it. We like that you've given us a timeline. Thank you, Rosengart, for answering all of our questions in this legal motion. We salute you and appreciate your craftsmanship. If it is another lawyer at Rosengart's firm that is helping write this, heads off to you as well. You're not going to get the credit, but there's a lot of names up at the top of this petition. It's not just Matthew Rosengart. It's also Eric Rowan, Scott Bertzik, Lisa McCurdy, Matthew Gershman, and Jane Davidson. So, we salute all of you. Not all heroes wear capes. Some of them wear well-cut suits. I prefer t-shirts and yoga pants, but that is what it is. All right, let's finish up with this petition because we got one more filing to get to, and then we are going to get to the questions because there will be questions. Let's see. Ms. Spears requests that at the September 29th hearing, the court suspend Mr. Spears immediately and formally appoint a temporary successor. Could you imagine the clapping outside the courthouse that will happen when James Spears is yeeted? It will be amazing. Second, in the event that the court chooses not to resolve the termination petition on September 29th, Ms. Spears respectfully requests that the court set a hearing date at its soonest convenience, at which time a termination plan will be in place and the conservatorship will be terminated in its entirety. So he's saying, look, the court's probably not inclined to just terminate the petition on the 29th. Agreed. The court is not going to do that. There is maybe an icy chance in hell, but look, this judge has moved so slowly. And when James was asked to be removed, the court was like, no, we're going to take baby steps. We'll appoint Bessemer, and Bessemer will go halvesies, and then down the road, we might remove him. There were very succinct steps, and I think banking on the fact that the court's not going to terminate the conservatorship on the 29th and be like, whatever, goodbye. This makes sense. Look, we will set a hearing date. We will bring you a termination plan. Just set a hearing for the termination petition. We'll bring you a termination plan. We'll get rid of James. We'll wind things up with cooperation, and then we will get this done. Thank you so much. Third, as for the lingering issues, lingering is not the right word for this. Lingering is not even close to the right word. These things have been pending for 10 forevers. Third, as for the lingering issues concerning Mr. Spears, including his accountings and petition for approval of attorney's fees, although no previous discovery has been propounded, Ms. Spears has begun taking the discovery necessary to meaningfully evaluate the latest accounting, for which objections have already been filed. The 12th accounting. Jody K has offered the word festering in the chat, and yes, I think festering is a very, very good word. Not Today has offered that lingering is what farts do. Some of these things do feel like a lingering bad smell. Agreed. But I think festering. Some of these petitions have absolutely been festering. They are starting to ooze. Let's see. I've lost my way in worrying about the word lingering. Apologies. Okay, we're back to paragraph 27. They're talking about the fact that there is still the 12th accounting to deal with on the 29th and the petition for fees. And they said, for which additional objections will be filed in advance of September 29th. Ooh, goody. We're going to get more objections to fees in next week. Maybe it'll be the day I'm getting on a plane. fantastic. I can't wait to see the objections for the petition for fees. The petition for fees is the like $1.3 million to one of the 4 law firms, H&K. Yeah, that's going to be fantastic. The sooner Mr. Spears information is provided, the sooner final objections can be stated and an evidentiary hearing can be set to resolve them. Your Honor, we need more information. We cannot resolve these pending petitions. He's not giving us the money or the information about the money that we need. So let's just remove him and then the adults can just deal with it, is what this feels like. Your Honor, just remove him and we will all work together pleasantly to take care of Britney's estate and Britney. They go on to say, but the day is not now. The accounting issues concerning Mr. Spears and others are almost literally the litigation tail that should not be permitted to wag the dog, which is exactly what Dad Spears keeps trying to do. We can't do anything till the accounting's done. And Rosengard's like, no, but you can though. Bye. I.e. suspension of Mr. Spears and ultimate prompt complete termination. For these reasons, Ms. Spears respectfully requests that the court set a future hearing date on the accounting issues, at which point, after Ms. Spears responds to the outstanding discovery, after Mr. Spears responds to the outstanding discovery and is deposed, the court can set a date and time for an evidentiary hearing solely over the accounting and financial issues. He does not have to be the conservator of the estate for that to happen. Your Honor, I'm telling you, just this is all we need to do. Yeet Dad Spears, set a future date. We will have an evidentiary hearing and we will deal with the accounting. 10-4. That's all we need to do. And then he repeats himself the way I do frequently. Paragraph 28, the final one, it bears repeating, however, that Ms. Spears cannot emphasize strongly enough, as she has so forcefully testified, that Mr. Spears' suspension must be ordered on September 29th unless he acts with grace and agrees to resign beforehand. Every single petition that Rosengard has filed since the first one has said something to the effect of the right and proper thing to do is for James Spears to resign. And he has said that in every one. I appreciate the consistency with which he is reminding Dad Spears that you can just file the papers, just file the papers, just file the papers. You can resign. And maybe he will. It's verified. Britney has signed this as a verified petition, and we've got notice provisions after this and notice given to literally scores and scores of attorneys. It's 2 pages of notice to attorneys. And that is the end of the first motion that we're talking about this evening, which is the second supplement to the petition to yeet. Let's get into the very short next one, which I've also shared on social. If you don't follow me there, it's at the Emily D. Baker. I think I provide some value some of the times, sometimes just fuckery some of the times. It depends on the platform and the mood. But that's what social media is for. Also, if you haven't liked and subscribed and you're watching this video, the 4,000 of you that are, go ahead and maybe like and subscribe to the channel. I do not normally put goals out into the universe, but I am trying to hit 200,000 by the holidays because by the end of the year. Because why? Because it's a goal to shoot for, and I think it would be fun. And then we can do some oil slick hair, I think is what we decided for 200,000. And that will be lots of fun too. All right, let's get on to the next one. This is the withdrawal and taking off calendar of the nomination of Jason Rubin and the supplemental petition for appointment of temporary successor conservator of the estate. So we had heard rumors that Jason Rubin wanted to withdraw. There had never been a motion to withdraw, but this is the motion to withdraw the nomination of Jason Rubin. He has not actually been made the conservator of the estate, so that is easy to do. And they are saying this is a supplemental petition for a temporary successor conservator of the estate. This would allow them to reach their goals of removing James Spears, investigating the estate, and winding up the conservatorship. They go on to cite California Probate Code Section 1810, which says that if the proposed conservatee has sufficient capacity, which the court already found in letting her appoint her own attorney, as was pointed out in the last motion, at the time to form an intelligent preference, the proposed conservatee may nominate a conservator in the petition or in a writing signed either before or after the petition is filed. The court shall appoint the nominee as conservator unless the court finds the appointment of the nominee is not in the best interest of the conservatee. Petitioner seeks to update her nomination of successor to James Spears pursuant to Section 1810 from Jason Rubin to John Zabel to assume the role on a temporary basis only. Petitioner has concurrently filed an ex parte petition to appoint John Zabel as temporary conservator of the estate. Accordingly, petitioner formally withdraws the nomination of Jason Rubin and in his place has nominated CPA accountant John Zabel. So that will be the temporary, or that is the nominated temporary conservator of the estate. So they are handling the court's questions beforehand. Well, if I remove James, who is going to fill their place? This person. This is the person. We got you. We got you. What you need to do: set an evidentiary hearing date for the 12th accounting and grant the motion to eat and appoint this dude as the temporary conservator of the estate, leave Jody Montgomery as the temporary conservator of the estate, or extend her temporary status through the end of the calendar year and remove James Spears permanently. So if something happens to Jody Montgomery, James Spears does not become the conservator of the person because he has not been terminated as the conservator of the person. Jody Montgomery is filling his role temporarily. So terminating James Spears would terminate him from both. So those are the new filed motions. I'm sure that you have questions. I have questions. I have thoughts. Quick thoughts on this. I think that Rosengart is keeping his eye on the ball. Lawyers go through a process. Just trying to terminate the conservatorship without some of these things doesn't make a lot of sense to me. It makes sense to have not just the process in place, but also the financial people in place to make a smooth transition for Britney's estate, which includes somebody to negotiate her business contracts, a business manager, someone who pays the day-to-day bills and the things that a financial manager handles. And also this investigation into 13 years of this conservatorship that Britney's attorney is clearly undertaking. There needs to be people in place for that. And then whether the conservatorship is terminated and the court loses jurisdiction and they sue in another court, then they do. But we will see. So I'm very excited and optimistic, and will be very angry and disappointed on the 29th. But I'm excited and optimistic in this case, and that's why there's a more jovial feel. It's been a heavy week, but Rosengart brings amazing shade. He has taken the things that the court has said and pointed them out to the court saying, you've said this, now do it. He's taken the things that James Spears had said and said, you said this, now we're standing by it, and you should stand by it too, Your Honor, and has thrown in all of the shade because James Spears, in his first response, threw Britney under the bus. He really put some of her mental health out on the street in a way that I thought was completely inappropriate to do in a motion not filed under seal. And I appreciate that Rosengart was like, oh, you want to fuck around and find out? Find out. Find out. Here's how you're going to find out. Don't come play this game with me when you've had a restraining order issued. Don't play with me. I will bring it back because you've done enough. There's there. And I appreciate that about this motion. I appreciate the shade. So if the court does not grant this, it will be very interesting to see what comes next. I am trying to remain optimistic that the court appointed Rosengart, trust that he is working in Britney's best interest. And if the court trusts that Rosengart is working in Britney's best interest, then there is no reason not to grant this motion. Her lawyer, who is acting in her best interest, who is appointed and chosen by her, has said that this is what needs to happen. The conservator of her person, who is working or supposed to be working in her best interest, has said that this is what needs to happen. It's been represented that the medical team and her mother have said this is what needs to happen. If the court ignores all of that in favor of James Spears, I will be fucking furious, but it will also raise a lot of questions about what's going on with the court. And I have been mild in bringing those things up because I want to see what the court does, and we will see. The ball is in your court, Your Honor. Make good choices. Cheers. Let's get to questions. I've got questions. You've got questions, and I know I missed some super chats. I'm going to try to get to them as best as I can. Bye, daddy. Go away, daddy. Who gonna pay Vivian's bill? Daddy, daddy, daddy. Yeah. Can you pay my bills? James Spears is about to be a scrub all on his own trying to pay his I hope he's been investing. I hope he's been investing the money he's been making from this conservatorship, because he's got a lot of legal fees to pay if the court denies some of this. So, Jackie Otero, you are the coolest lawyer. Thank you. It is why I do not go into court anymore, because I don't think I think my ability to respectfully argue in court has broken. And I'd be like, Your Honor, yeet. Forthwith. We need a forthwith yeeting of Dad Spears. So I'm going to try to get to the super chats that I missed, and then we'll get into the newer ones. Oh my God, my nails have gotten so long. I don't even know what to do with myself. Can you hear them on I use a trackpad mouse, and I feel like my nails are just scratching on it. The first Aquarius says, I think the engagement and prenup is smart, because won't they need to know the full extent of her assets to draft through the prenup? Yes, that is accurate. They will. And I think most of her finances will stay within not an estate like a conservatorship estate, but will stay within a business manager and a money manager and a professional money manager, and that she will still have a business manager handling contracts and approving things, so that she's not managing the day-to-day. She shouldn't. She should be allowed to go live and have fun. She shouldn't be managing the day-to-day of all of that. It's a lot. I don't even want to manage the day-to-day of all of it. It's a lot having to manage the day in and the day out of a dynamic business. I can't even imagine with licensing deals and stuff what Britney is dealing with. Amanda Job, thank you so much for the super sticker. Love the dolphin. I will have to tell G about it. We know how he feels about dolphiny. Seachless Green says, looked at being a Patreon or a YouTube member, and instead of picking one, Pourquoi no los dos, love the extra Pourquoi no los dos. I tried to set the price so that you could do both if that's what you chose, so that you could have the icons and gavels and things over here, and then the members only podcast over on Patreon. If you guys are interested in that, it's at lawnerdsunite.com. We have a members only podcast called I Have Thoughts, and that is what I talk about. My thoughts on the things. Mindy B, I Have Questions merch. Yes, it's in the works for fall. Also, I was thinking I need EDB content all day. The universe has heard my cries. Thank you. Well, you are welcome. There is so much content on this channel. I was just going back and looking at some of my old lives that don't even have thumbnails. I'm like, oh, we need to update some of that stuff. But yes, I feel like there is a lot of content here, but fresh content's always good, and talking about Britney is always welcome. So let me catch up with a few more of these and get to questions. I appreciate you guys' patience as we go through them. When there are, 4,000 of you in here, it gets active. It gets active. Carolyn PHX says, question, who besides you do you think will have the best updates on the 29th? I'm fascinated. Not me. I will have delayed updates because I am not going to be in court. That surprise witness, I believe, is going to be in court, and it will just depend on Twitter is normally the fastest place for updates. The thing is, there will be tons of reporters in the courtroom. We do not know if this will be recorded. Christopher Melcher and USA Today are still appealing the court's decision to end the remote audio access program. And so we won't know if there will be audio access. If there will be audio access, I will be fighting like hell to get audio access to it. But if there is not audio access, I cannot physically be in court that day because I am at Vid Summit. So it will be reporters who are in the courtroom who are running out and relaying to their different medias. I'm sure that USA Today will have someone, People will have someone, TMZ will have someone. That surprise witness has generally been there. Britney Law Army has generally been there. So there will be probably coverage outside the courthouse as well, streaming on YouTube. And I will share where I'm watching it because I will be watching it on Twitter too. And I will be resharing what people who are physically at court are sharing. And then if we get a minute order that night, we get a lot of breaking information, I will try to live stream remotely from the iPad, like I did when I was in Vegas, or I will cover it the next day. It's going to depend on my scheduling. I have a packed schedule while I'm in LA for that. So is that the Rebel Alliance symbol on your right arm? May the force be with you. Been celebrating turning 45. I've missed a lot. It is both a Rebel Alliance, and a Jedi sigil on my arm. Yes, we got some new tattoos when we were in Vegas. So some of you that haven't caught Alive in a minute are like, wait, there's like color everywhere. Yes, there is. There is color everywhere. I'm going to try to, I know I missed a few more super chats, so I'm just going to try to make sure I got them. And I think that I did. If I missed anything, my apologies. I am, well, hungry. A little bit tired. So I will definitely, if you follow me on Twitter at the Emily D. Baker, I will definitely be sharing the updates the best that I can. But with no remote recording, we're going to rely on the people that are in court. And remember, when anyone's reporting, it is their interpretation of what's being said, and we try to get everything, but the court has taken away phones. You can't even have laptops. Everybody is trying to transcribe pen to paper, pencil to paper. You can't even so Shields, German name of a shade of green from Victoria era, and Por qué no los dos is why not both in Spanish. No, I thought it was why not both. I thought I explained why not both, but I love Shields, and thank you for explaining. I tried to pronounce Por qué no los dos as good as I could, as well as I could, as good as I could. Christopher Melcher is a attorney in the area of divorce and celebrity divorce who still practices. So it is hard when you have to go with your colleagues and appear in front of these judges if you're on the internet going, but what in the ever-loving fuck are you doing? Because then you go and see that judge and they're like, counsel, can you come into chambers? And you're like, hi, Your Honor. I really do want to know what the ever-loving fuck you are doing. It's a little easier because I have moved out of Southern California and give commentary and run the podcast and this channel. So I am not appearing before these judges anymore. But Christopher Melcher, because he is a family law attorney, has appeared in court with these judges, though the judge for the family law side was one of my professors in law school. And I have friends that are running for judge. Lots of judgy things happening in my world lately. It's like I've been a licensed attorney long enough that like everyone's starting to run for the bench. And for those of you in LA, as we get closer to that next election, I'll be sharing who I know that is running for the bench that I think would be excellent judicial officers. Amy Yost, good to see you. Glad to say what I've been saying all along. He uses conservatorship to live off of Britney and not work. Mm-hmm. James is only concerned with James. Mm-hmm. What's done in the dark always comes to light, and the audit will be a mic drop. I think the audit might not be a mic drop alone. I think there will be a lot of things. Avaloma, I don't know if he's a forensic analyst, but they might be bringing on a forensic analyst on the law firm side because they are also seeking discovery from James. So I don't know what their strategy is there. We're trying to do the both. Ashley said yes, but pourquoi is French and you mixed it. It happens if you've studied both. I have not. I'm just bad at pronouncing things. I have a hard time with languages, as one can imagine. English is hard enough. I took sign language as my language and loved it. Question: what are your thoughts on TMZ and how they seem to be biased towards Dad Spears, especially given their role in Britney's breakdown in the first place all those years ago? TMZ, I have a rough relationship with the way that they spin things, but that's what they do. They are essentially a tabloid, which is their role. I know people see commentary that way sometimes too, but they do tend to have early information. They generally tend to have some accurate information because it seems that they get fed it directly from James's team, but there is definitely a spin. So I would be very interested to see the spin on that. So question. This is a great question, Robbie. Can Disney take me to court for copyright infringement? It might also be seen as trademark. I think because I have blended the two, that this is enough of a transformative work that it would fall under fair use in transformative works. So it is not one symbol or the other. My tattoo artist who I love over at Iron Horse Tattoos in Las Vegas, Tony, drew them together so that we have a blending of the both. So I think it is a transformative work, and that is what I'm going with because they are my tattoos. And would they come after me or would they come after the tattoo artist? I've been meaning to do an update on the tattoos because Kat Von D got sued by a photographer for copyright infringement for directly recreating the photograph on as a tattoo onto someone, and she got sued because she was the one who drew it. So, we'll see. Tony, I got you. I got you, boo. Don't worry about it. Question: how long could it take to depose Dad Spears? Well, he's been kicking and screaming every step of the way like a child who doesn't want to go to bed, so it could take a while. Also, thanks for the surprise ride when I wrapped up with a long day at Virtual Dreamforce, a tech con. Well, you are welcome. Yay. I know I'm actually much more excited, iCats Mitch, about the Britney audit than about the Arizona audit, but we know that I love pop culture so much. Patricia asked, why on earth are these lawyers filing for James Spears given Rosengart coming for them and the expensive legal bills? They probably figure that he'll pay it one way or the other. I mean, these attorneys have been working with James for 13 years. I imagine that they see things his way. Your job as a lawyer, and this is not me like saying, well done, Vivian, but your job as a lawyer, especially as a civil lawyer, which is why civil can get so heated. Civil can get so ugly and mean, and you get the snappy emails because the job in civil is to take up as an advocate your client's side, and you are taking on the wrongs done to them as your own, and it is your job to fight for them and zealously advocate for them. I feel that sometimes that can go too far, like where the bounds of zealous advocacy and ethics are. I don't think that has happened in this case. Let me be clear. I don't think either of the attorneys in this case have overstepped bounds, but you take on their positions. So are James's lawyers looking at this as this is what I imagine they are looking at this as. This is a dad who is blessed with a talented daughter who he loves very much because daddy loves Britney. We've heard it said in court and in court documents, and it always kind of makes me want to hurl in my own mouth. But their position seems to be, and Vivian talked in Framing Britney Spears a little bit about this, Media Matters perhaps, that he has a talented daughter who had a mental breakdown, and it was his calling as a dad to save her from herself, to protect her career, to protect her kids, and to protect his family. And for 13 years, he's been doing that, and he deserves a gold star, pat on the back, and everything he does is in the best interest of his daughter. I firmly believe that as his lawyers are saying that with their whole chest, that is the position they've taken because that is their client's position, and they are going to fight for that. So that's where it is. That's where it is. BuzzFeed did an amazing expose about Harvey and how TMZ starts and how it runs. I remember reading it in 2014, but not sure when it was actually written. Interesting. I don't know a ton about the history of it. I did take ASL. I think ASL is fantastic. So yes, I did. And that is amazing. So on what basis could the court deny each motion? Allie C, I could see if the court is inclined to deny the motion, I could see the court trying to put these over, needing more research, more time, wanting more information from the lawyers, wanting a report, wanting something. I don't think the court would deny anything outright. I think the court would delay. But as they say, justice delayed is justice denied. But I could see the court. Yes, I've been listening to too many podcasts. The podcast going on about Theranos, the dropout, has been fantastic and keeping the coverage up to date on that trial. Jonathan said, question, what new information do you think the Britney documentary could present? I feel so caught up with your coverage. Thank you. They have indicated in their trailer that they have leaked court documents. They are bringing in the voicemail that Britney sent. So I think they're going to tie in things from not just the legal documents, but also from things that have been said to the press, leaked to the press, and interviews. It would be interesting to see. So absolutely. Would Disney go after someone for a tattoo? Just curious. Me. We should just stay on topic to Britney questions. Also me. Let's talk about Disney tattoos. Um, sure. What I could see if there was like a few tattoo artists that rose to prominence and only did like direct copy Disney themed tattoos. I could see Disney going after the artist being like, you're literally making your whole bag off of just copying our works that are visually trademarked. But it wouldn't I don't think Disney would. I think that they probably see some of it as advertising, which is where you saw the issue in the Kat Von D site. Oh, in the Kat Von D lawsuit. I thought tattoos were not subject to copyright because they're transformative as tattoos. Argued in the Kat Von D suit that just putting it on skin as a new medium alone is not transformative enough if something else is not changed, which is why the photographer sued here. We're just going to have to cover that case. I'm noting it back down for an Emily show episode, because it is really interesting. And there have been a couple interesting tattoo lawsuits. So no, they are trying to argue that it is not transformative enough just because it's on skin, though some would argue that it is. So that's where we have that's where my thoughts have gone. Anyway, question. We talked about that. I'm trying to get to everything. So on the grounds, I think the judge will delay. Ashley Vincent, get your at tattoo. At-ats are so cool. Question, could Viv be advising James with these filings to ensure they get paid in the 12th accounting? Like, could the lawyers be acting in their own self-interest? I mean, I will never say never. I will never say never with lawyers, but they shouldn't be. They should be acting in their client's own best interest and deal with the money second. So I hope that that's what they're doing. But I also could see Dad Spears just being like, I don't believe this is what's in her best interest, so I'm going to fight tooth and nail. We so appreciate you for this extra ride and for creating the Law Nerd community. Love to you and the mods. Thank you for the mod love. Everybody, absolutely some mod love. Again, we've been live for almost an hour and a half, and I'm going to answer a few more questions and then wrap because I want to see my kids. And we have some homework to finish up, and Travis tried a new parkour place and I want to chat with him about how that went. So we definitely have stuff for this evening, but you are welcome for the extra ride. Huge appreciation to the mods for an extra ride because we also have Friday Night Live this week, but I'm going to be live less next week. So I was like, well, we might as well just go and do it. Dad Spears makes me, he makes a lot of us nauseous, so I get it. Dad Spears absolutely wants a cookie. He said it in his last motion, like he should be given a pat on the back and congratulated, was literally in his last motion. So, bleh. Question, can we have a special community live when she is freed, complete with oodles of her music? I mean, I can't play her music on YouTube because my stream will get cut. But we can absolutely have a celebratory Law Nerd ride. And whenever it is that we have a Law Nerd in-person event or events, we will play plenty of Britney music and dance the night away and maybe do some karaoke too, because if the court denies Rosengart's motion, do they have to justify their reasoning or can they just say no? I mean, they can just say no, but then he can appeal it. They would have to have some reasoning, I think. And I don't think the court is ready to catch that smoke from Rosengart, to be perfectly honest. Rosengart has absolutely laid down the law and pointed the court's own reasoning out to the court. Whenever you can cite the court back to itself, like, Your Honor, remember you said. It's like, Mom, remember? You said we were going to get ice cream. So I don't think she would flat out deny it. I'd be shocked if she did. Delay would still make me mad. Enchanted Wing says, I love having you in the background as I crochet my first ever handmade jumper sweater. Thank you, because jumpers in the US, I always think of like one-piece rompers, not a jumper sweater. Can we just look at this cat just like splayed out back there? He's like, bleh. Are you having a good... Fred's just having the best nap ever. How many times have you sat in the cool lounge chair behind you? I really love it. Well, Jody, when Fred lets me have my chair, I do. That is where I sit to do most of my reading. I have my iPad in here. which we love this iPad case. So my iPad's in here, and I will sit with my iPad and read back there. I love it. It's easier on my back. I have a little lap desk that I put it on. So that is where I like to sit and read. Because I do need to get out of the office chair. I sit here a lot. I sit here a lot. So thank you guys for all the mod love. I appreciate it. Brett said, I remember we talked about the trust and all the LLCs going directly into it and how it wasn't mandatory to report trust to the court. Thought about it once the trust is combined, though. Will Britney's net worth go up? Maybe. Maybe. We'll see. There are so many there are so many different LLCs, and I'm not aware of all of them. So, question, have you covered LuLaRoe? Yes, there's an episode of The Emily Show out today. It's on your favorite podcast player about it, and there are some other audio episodes. I don't have many videos about it, but the video will be live this week. Brett said, I just can't make sense that Ariana's net worth is 180 million, Nicki Minaj is 100 million, and then Britney's worth is 50 or 60 million. No tea, no shade, but Nicki open for Britney on Femme Fatale. Where is the money? Brett, no shade to any of those women. Britney has perfumes. She has licensing. She's been in movies. She's had multiple Vegas residencies, lots of albums, and a very successful career. I think the amount she has spent on lawyers over the last 13 years has probably diminished her estate in pretty substantial ways. I hope that Rosengart will find out. I hope that we will learn. Like, I want answers, and I know those answers might take time, but I really, 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 really want answers. My curious ass needs to know. Amy said, question, isn't their client actually Britney since she is paying them? No, which is a funny quirk, isn't it? The lawyers for the conservator of the estate, their client is the conservator of the estate, but the estate pays them because there are certain things that the estate is allowed to pay for on behalf of the conservators to do their job. So anyway, that's what it is. I'm going to get to just a few more questions. I know I missed some. I appreciate all the mod love. You guys are the best. Question, what app on your iPad do you use to review the cases and highlights? I use, what is it called? Not clearly not sponsored because I am like, what? It is not Notability. That's what I used to use. I'm going to just look. We're just going to look. I'm not going to show you my code though. Take that, Bainbridge scholars. What is this called? Let me see. Good Notes. And it's lovely. It is, I think it's a paid app, but it's lovely and I love it. It is not a real Ames chair. Don't tell anybody. It is inspired by because my cats sit on it. So, it is what it is. Yes, the Control F Yourself came from a Ruckus live stream. I have to go back and start finding the clips of where I've said stuff that has ended up in merch because I always forget. And I'm like, oh my God, now it's merch. And I forget the first Control F Yourself because it happened organically and then it became merch. There's mugs, lawnardshop.com. We love some merch. And I love seeing you guys in it on social and even getting notes from you that have worn merch out in public and have people come up to you and been like, oh my God, I'm a lawnard too. Like, you don't know how much it warms my heart that even when we're out in the world, that our lawnard community still connects with us when they know. And I kind of love that because it doesn't say lawnards anywhere. Like it's an inside joke with us. So if you know, but if you don't, you don't. And I love that kind of like secret knock, wink, wink, nod, nod. Like I get where you're at. That I love that too. And I really love that about this community so much. So thank you. All right, y'all. It is time to wrap up. It was an extra ride. It was an hour and a half. I know y'all are like, are we done already? I will be back Friday. It will be at least 2 hours. Don't worry. There is so much more to come on Friday. I was going to try to do a lighter stream. We will see what happens with the stories I've been covering, but I was hoping to get to some Facebook stuff and some other stories quickly, and then some more questions because it's been a while that we haven't gotten to them. So thank you for being here. If you haven't liked the video and subscribed to the channel, please do it. It does absolutely help. Question, can we have a secret lawnard handshake? We'll have to figure it out. Maybe when we're all in person again, we'll figure it out. But I think there absolutely should be some kind of a like secret knock, secret handshake for sure. I think so. Jennifer, what are the chances of getting a substantial amount of money back if Rosengart finds Dad Spears owes? Well, there is a pretty substantial bond that Dad Spears has paid. So if there is a problem, there is a bond that can cover some of that. So yes, there is a good chance if that is an issue that that could come back. So yes. All right. Let us go. Oh, okay, one more question. Bad art tangent. I need to know where the iPad case is from. This is from 12 South. It's called The Book. It looks like an old book. I freaking love it. It fits. They have different sizes. 12 South is great. So I wish I was as chill as this cat too. Thank you, mods. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I appreciate you, Law Nerds, for being here. I appreciate you for caring about facts, not fuckery. I appreciate you for wanting to have conversations and loving it when the lawyers throw a little bit of tea, a little bit of shade, a little bit of a sassy footnote, and that we can come together and just have those conversations. It really is the community that I've always wanted to find on the internet, and I every day feel special to be a part of it. And so thank you for that. It is a tremendous blessing, and I really, really do appreciate you guys and love being a Law Nerd with all of you. Thank you so much. I will talk to you soon. Have a great night. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. I've got to go. I'm going. Bye-bye. Cheers. Connect with me everywhere. I'm at the Emily D. Baker. If you guys want to join the text, just text Emily.com. If you want to join the channel, LawNerdsUnite.com. Happy to have you. Support what we do here on the YouTube.